to tell. It's gonna be a great Noel. It's the Advent Calendar House. Muppets, Batman, Smurfs, and even Garfield's Halloween. We're gonna take a trip down memory lane. Frosty, Rudolph, and a bunch you've probably never seen. It's Mike and pals that come to entertain. Turn the knob and lift the latch for fun and laughs that can't be matched. And just beware the icy patch. It's the Advent Calendar House.
Welcome to the Advent Calendar House, the podcast that glows blue when you make it feel its feelings. Today's Christmas special is a pretty recent one. It's from 2020, and listen, I know that's not a year anyone wants to remember, but the tail end of it gave us this charming little story that I totally missed because we were all trying to survive. But today, I'm setting my super sleigh to light speed and catching up with the Netflix original movie, Alien Xmas. I am easily mistaken for a child's plaything when my body freezes in response to stress, Mike Westfall. And joining me, armed with a wrapping gun designed to put ribbons on puppies and he's not afraid to use it, it's Michael DiGiovanni. Hey, DiGio.
Hey, Mike. Did I ever tell you that my first high school band was called Santa's Nunchucks? True story.
Failed to mention that, but it's got a ring to it. And about to be out of work reindeer who feels no remorse about letting Santa's new ride crash and burn. It's Sammy Hain. Hi, Sammy.
Hey, I always appreciate the hospitality here in the Advent Calendar House. I found this huge thing of cotton candy in your stuff chamber, so I just assumed that's for me, right? Well, good.
Sure, yeah. No, clearly I haven't been eating it.
About the size of Chad. It's really... Chad?
Not here today.
Well,
thank you both for being here. Dijo, this was your request.
It was, yes. Very new special, but I think a worthy addition to the Christmas special list.
Yeah, this was really charming, but when you requested it, I think you buried the lead that it was made by the Chiodo Brothers.
Yeah, I maybe left that part out.
I remember Mike mentioned he was doing this, and I think the term is marked out.
Yeah.
I jumped out, I was like, the Chiodo one? And he was like, wait, what? Wait, how do you not?
For the unfamiliar, the Chiodo Brothers also created Killer Klowns from Outer Space. You may have also seen their stop-motion animation in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, you know, when Large Marge makes her scary face. Mm-hmm. And, oh yeah, the stop-motion characters in Elf.
Yep.
Mr. Narwhal.
And you can really see that work paralleled here, for sure, the Elf stuff.
Oh, very much so. I think a few of them show up later for a hot second, but...
This is pretty much the grandchild of Elf, because they met Jon Favreau on there, and that's when all this started spinning, like... We're doing this. Mm-hmm.
Jon Favreau's in this, and he was the executive producer.
Yeah, and they were totally saying that, you know, we've done this homage to stop motion holiday specials. We really should do a full.
I'm glad they had that talk.
Yeah.
So, Alien Xmas premiered on Netflix on November 20th, 2020. And I completely missed it until Dijo brought it up to me. But I will say, right out of the gate, this special is gorgeous.
Oh, totally. And let me just give you a little background as to how I came about it. It's,
okay.
As much as, like everybody, you always want to revisit your annual favorites, right? I'm still always looking for new specials.
Yeah.
Like I'll use the holiday fandom website sometimes and it'll kind of say these are the new things coming out. Now, as you mentioned off the top, Mike, this came out in November 2020. So we are in the early dark stages of the pandemic. So I really that year remember going, I need an escape. Like give me as many Christmas specials as humanly possible. So I saw that Netflix was debuting this one. So I checked it out and I've watched it every year since.
Not surprised. Yeah, this might actually become a yearly or maybe biannually watch for me going forward. I was that impressed.
It really is. And I was on the hype train early for that because John Squires of Bloody Disgusting. Early on, he was putting out articles and messages about this, really excited for it. And obviously, there's the Chiodo Brothers Killer Klowns connection for a horror blog. But a lot of it, what it is like you really have that cross section between horror and Christmas fanatics of loving that practical effects, that stop motion.
Yeah.
Like we were all super excited to really see something come forward from their style. So yeah, every new development, when the new trailers was out, the horror community was just so in to see Santa and the aliens.
Again. Didn't even think of that angle, but yeah, that's a great point.
I mean, it's obvious that the Chiodo Brothers drew inspiration from a number of Christmas classics.
Oh, absolutely.
For this. I mean, it's a love letter to things like The Grinch and notably the Rankin and Bass Fair.
Yeah, it's got all the good feelings of an old school Rankin Bass special. So let's dive into this. We open over a starry night sky, which pans down to Santa's village, where he's telling the story of the night before Christmas to a group of young elf children from his point of view. He says, and laying a finger aside of my nose, which I don't think I've ever heard that before. So that was neat.
I sprang to my sleigh, gave my flight team a whistle, and away we all flew like the down of a thistle. But I gave him a shout ere we drove out of sight. Merry Christmas to all!
And to all, good night!
Yes!
What do we think of this Santa design?
I'm glad that you brought this up because this is always a note of mine. Fairly traditional looking Santa.
Yeah.
Some other specials make him look like an elf or make him look like if in the Nightmare Before Christmas, he looks almost gangly and strange looking. Fairly traditional Santa here. But if I had a complaint, he's too slim. I just don't like the slim Santas. I mean, you got to fatten him up a bit.
Not completely slim, but you're right. Like on the slimmer side, as far as the Santas we've seen in animation go.
I like a balance. Like you mentioned Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't like him to look like a ball.
Right.
Or like he could barely get out of the sleigh, but larger than life. That's how I like to see Santa. But,
sure.
And this one, we're already seeing the animation work in here, the expressions on here. You're really getting a lot of this Santa's personality, like the optimistic, playful, and you're seeing that even if he was on mute. It's really...
This Santa is voiced by Keith Farley, who's also a voice director for a bunch of cartoons, including Rugrats and Adventure Time, and for a bunch of video games, including God of War, Skylanders, and Final Fantasy 15. Keith Farley also co-wrote Bat Boy the Musical.
Of course he did.
About the Bat Boy in the Weekly World News. It's real.
I go, oh yeah.
So Santa finishes telling his story to these elf children, and a grandfather clock on the wall strikes 8:30, and even the clock looks like it's pulled straight out of a Rankin Bass thing from 'Twas the Night Before Christmas is what that reminded me of. So that tells me everything I'm about to see through the rest of this is designed very intentionally.
And there's a lot of like close-ups of the food and gifts and everything here. And what I want to point out here is like, they did this on a 1/7 scale, which isn't traditional. So everything you see had to be handmade. There was no going to the doll shop or the prop shop.
No.
It was like,
it
was like, no one's done this before. We have to wrap the presents. We have to make the cookies.
I mean, I think we're going to say this a lot, but the animation looks great. I mean, there is some CGI, I'm sure, because the spaceship stuff later on.
Sure.
But it is largely stop motion animation, and modern stop motion is so crisp and clean that it could almost be confused with CGI. Like, I feel like you could be tricked into thinking this was CGI trying to approximate stop motion, but it's not. It's the real thing, and it looks spectacular.
No, there was a lot of love put into this.
Yeah, that spaceship is the only CGI in it, and they said it pretty much the same as you did, that modern stop motion is CGI. Like, they're on the same level. It's...
Basically. But it's 8:30 and Santa tells the little elves it's time to go to bed, but they want to hear one more story. Santa says they must have heard every Christmas story there is by now, but then he stops and he thinks of one tale they may not have heard, and he lowers his voice, adding,
Honestly, it's kind of crazy. You kids wouldn't want to hear a crazy Christmas story, would you?
Yeah.
So it's another one of these where, I mean, you haven't heard that's another Rankin Bass thing that they always do.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's such a familiar setup for these sort of specials.
It is, but I like Santa's twist on it. It was like, well, there's one I know you haven't heard, so let's tell that one.
I love how the kids are like, oh, we won't tell our parents, or they won't care. Like, yes, lying to and keeping secrets from your parents. This is what you want to tell Santa.
We may revisit this statement later, but
Yep.
So our real story begins with Santa narrating about a race of aliens known as Klowns, and we're shown their dry, desolate home planet. The Klowns themselves look like your typical gray aliens, with the big black eyes and the head shaped like a bicycle seat.
Which I love.
Oh yeah,
I love a crazy creative alien, but give me a Roswell alien autopsy one.
This is very typical Roswell alien.
Yeah, it's like shorthand for alien, using air quotes. Like anytime you could walk into this and not like have seen the initial setup, and you're gonna go, well, that thing's an alien.
Yep. And if the name Klowns didn't give it away, Santa tells us their home planet was once beautiful and colorful, but they grew greedy and plundered everything their planet had to offer until their color faded away. And wait a minute, that's the plot from Rainbow Bright.
It's an homage.
Sure. But Santa continues the greedy Klowns move from galaxy to galaxy, stealing everything they can, and then we meet the smallest and sneakiest member of the Klowns, X, who speaks in little garbled-sounding chittering provided by D. Bradley Baker. Perfect for that sort of thing. Last time I talked about him was when he was Perry the Platypus.
And he is Klaus from American Dad.
Oh, okay. I'm like, not that Klaus.
No.
No.
But coincidentally, it has one of my favorite ongoing Santa Claus stories in American Dad. Every year they go back to the story of how the family is at war with Santa Claus.
Oh, it's
and
so
the
good.
uncle is Krampus. I just, pour it over pancakes. It's sweet and rich. I love it.
It's to be honest, it's great that you say that, Sammy, because I don't think I've talked to anyone or else that really follows American Dad, because I never watched the show, but I only watched their Christmas specials. And you're right, they have this ongoing narrative that's just fantastic. I know this guy because doesn't he play every single clone trooper that's ever existed on Star Wars?
Oh, is that him? Yeah, I think you're right.
Job security.
Yeah, man. So X may be the sneakiest of the Klowns, but Santa tells us because he was also the smallest, none of the others ever took him seriously. He's a little misfit alien.
Tough being short, Mike.
I know it.
So I know this is audio. The audience is going to see this, but I'm putting in the chat right here a little plush alien that was my buddy through college, even went to Roswell with me. And
that's him.
that's not X.
I mean, it might as well be, is what I'm saying. He's a dead ringer.
I'm starting to think it wasn't a toy. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, well, now we understand.
So before we meet X and we're going through all their stuff, we see the stuff chamber.
Oh, the stuff chamber. Yes.
And this is very important for me personally, because one of the key items that you see in here is, as I referenced earlier, the killer clown from outer space, cotton candy cocoon. Larger than life, right on the right side.
Yeah.
For all the horror fans sitting to watch it. So we know it's a shared universe. With Jon Favreau here, that's important.
Of course.
So being me, I did have to pause and look for other things, because these are the Chiodos. They're going to love Easter eggs. And I saw what could only be described as a Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band uniform, but with 4 arms.
Sure.
That's great.
Right in the middle was a leg lamp, but it was green, which I think is a great Star Trek reference. A lightsaber, everlasting gobstopper,
Oh, I missed that.
a rockets aboard right in the middle, and I'm a very PG-13 person, but I would be remiss to say if there wasn't something of the probing, plugging
Well,
with an alien face on the side there.
Explicit tag earned.
they stole that from the aliens who do that.
Right.
But really, they're heroes.
Yes. Yeah. They're equal opportunity thieves. Okay,
sorry.
No, I'm glad you brought it up. And I'm glad you paid more attention than I did. You caught a few things I didn't, but I definitely saw the cotton candy.
Yep.
The only thing that I caught was, and I'm surprised it hasn't been mentioned, doesn't the Kleps ship look like the Chitauri ships from the Avengers?
You're not wrong.
No. Johnny boy. That's him.
But now we see a whole bunch of Kleps gathered before their supreme leader, who's named Z, and she enters on a walking throne that looks like she made the chair out of a spider robot from Wild Wild West. And I kind of want one.
It looks kind of also like Emperor Palpatine's hologram thing from Phantom Menace.
Oh, yeah. That thing that just walk around the house with that. And Z has an evil Space Queen voice that sounds familiar because it's Barbara Goodson, the voice of Rita Repulsa from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
We will stuff their stuff into our stuffed chambers, and then their stuff will be our stuff.
If anyone was born to do this voice, it's her.
Yes, yup. And appropriately, she has gathered all the Kleps to tell them it's time to conquer Earth.
Yeah!
And her plan to conquer Earth is taking all of its stuff, involving building a machine called the Gyrotron to obliterate Earth's gravity, sending everything on the planet into orbit for them to collect. And I think I rode that at a theme park once.
I'm not allowed to write it again.
No.
There was unpleasantness.
Yeah, well. And it just so happens the Gyrotron needs to be set up at the planet's north magnetic pole, which I'm sure I've mentioned this before, is different from the geographical North Pole. So the magnetic pole shifts over time. Right now, the magnetic North Pole happens to be relatively close to the geographical North Pole, but for hundreds of years, it was a bit farther south over Canada's Northern Islands.
Oh, we learned something here.
Yeah. So you could say that if that's where Santa's village is and it moves with the magnetic pole, that it was hanging out in North Canada for many, many years.
Yes. Score one for Canada.
There you go.
We aim to entertain and educate.
One of my favorite Santa theories is that it moves with the North Magnetic Pole. So that, of course, is how this is going to tie into Christmas. So Z needs someone to go to Earth and build this Gyrotron, and X takes this as his opportunity to prove himself. So he steps forward, and Z says she was hoping for someone a bit taller, and the whole room laughs at him.
So much body shaming.
I know. She's not thinking big picture. It's like The Hobbit. You need a burglar to scamper around unnoticed.
Exactly.
So X is sent to Earth along with a helper robot, a semi-automatic multitasking unit, or SAM-2 for short.
That might be my new screen name.
SAM-2. It sounds... They could have reworked that because it almost sounds a bit like Santa. They had an opportunity to do wordplay there, but nope.
Get confusing.
That could have been like a joke that they could have kept going, but X and SAM-2 fly down to the North Pole, and as the ship flies toward Christmas Town, we get a cameo of the Puffin and the Walrus from Elf.
There you go.
But let's talk about Christmas Town in this special. It's a busy little castle town.
It is.
It looks so great. It is vibrant. It is colorful. The lights, the animals. As soon as you see the stop motion animals, it evokes all of these feelings of Rankin and Bass. Like
Yeah.
it is just the snowmen, the village, and like the displays. It is an eyeful.
The fur on the animals, you want to touch it, you know?
You do, yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
This is one of the better Santa's villages I've seen in a special.
And this really shows like their visual storytelling. Like we were just with the Kleps, everything's gray. The music is that, theremin and everything. And then it just counteracts to Christmas Town. It's color, the music changes, everything. This is
You know what, Sammy? I've got to use that, though, to launch us into one quick thing, if you'll permit, Mike.
Absolutely.
No songs in this special.
No, they could have. This is a very tight 40-minute special, which you can do on Netflix, but they could have stretched it to an hour if they would have added some songs. You're right.
Right. Now, and it doesn't make it good or bad.
No.
It's just, it's a common thing. It's like, I went, yes, the score has the, Christmassy sort of sounds and vibes.
Yeah.
But no songs. Like there were a couple moments that you thought, oh, we're doing the big zoom in to Christmas Town. We're gonna go into a song here where the whole community's gonna sing. No,
Right.
So to me, at least, I'm okay with it because I sometimes like lackluster songs can really drag a special down. So if they don't feel like they got it, then don't do it.
I do know it was originally an 80-minute theatrical production
Wow.
that they were going for.
Wow, they really trimmed it.
Yeah, so we're looking at half of the original idea.
There had to have been songs in it then at that length.
At that length, you have to. But
I would
they
think
said that
so.
like Favreau was the one who he really believed in it being the story of X and a girl, and anything that was superfluous to it,
Okay.
just like bring it in to a central story.
Mike, I didn't even think about this, but I feel like, am I right in saying that this is the first special that you've covered on the Advent Calendar House that was made direct for streaming?
It might be now that I'm thinking about it.
We're breaking format. There's no ad
Yeah.
breaks. Mike, there's no ad breaks. What do we do with no ads?
I'll find a place. I mean, they had a fade. Did they have a fade at one point? I don't know.
We'll be right back.
We could go to commercial right now, in fact.
We could.
And now, these messages.
Santa bags are coming, Santa bags are coming, Santa bags are coming, Santa bags are coming to your town. Watch out, look around, we're coming,
New Coca-Cola Santa Packs, the only real holiday refreshment. Look for this display at your store.
holiday refreshments like we bring. Unwrap a Santa pack, it's always a real thing. Santa bags are coming, always Coca-Cola.
Love, family, traditions, presents, pumpkins, fireworks, Santa Claus. All make you think of holidays, right? Well, what about murder, heartbreak, gangsters, and witchcraft? Still thinking about holidays? Beginning this February, I will take you on a journey to the lesser-known sides of the holidays, the sides history might try to forget, the celebrations that you might not be familiar with. Oh, and don't worry, I'll be sprinkling in some elements of normal holiday traditions too. After all, even those of us with the dark side still have a special place in our hearts for the Easter Bunny, Valentine's candy, cute jack-o'-lanterns and ghosts, and of course, all things merry and bright. Let's uncover and celebrate the strange and unusual together. I'm your host, Kristen, and this is Holidays After Dark.
So it's 2 days before Christmas Eve. Never mind that the sun is out. I'm tired of pointing that out. It's a Christmas special about aliens. Let's all deal with it. And I will also excuse penguins living at the North Pole because it looks like a pretty diverse city. You've got elves, you've got snowmen, so fine, penguins.
They ship them up north for the holiday.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
They don't want to leave them out.
It's their winter home when they want additional winter. So we head inside a dog kennel where a couple of elves are getting puppies ready to become presents from Santa, which I'm fine with here as long as they're not getting wrapped up in boxes. Don't do that.
Yeah. You call it kennel, I call it the North Pole Puppy Mill.
Oh, dear.
Santa, adopt, come on. It's dogs that need homes.
They're getting homes. It's Santa. They're all getting homes.
No. But they're throughout the world. Never mind. It's fine.
Yeah, the little girl in this one wants to keep one, but she understands, no, this one's got a home waiting for it. But yeah, no, this little girl's putting ribbons around the puppy's necks with what's basically a ribbon gun.
Yeah.
That will come up later.
It sure will.
It's Chekhov's ribbon gun, for sure.
Gee, so if we needed a weapon, this might.
So her dad's an inventor elf who made this contraption that shoots out a ribbon that wraps perfectly around a puppy's neck. But watching this kid aim it at the dog's face took me aback a little. Like, watch where you're pointing at.
Well, we're used to Christmas movies having the fumbling inventor dad.
Right.
But from Gremlins and everything else, I was expecting that ribbon to go.
Yeah, just go all over the place and wrap herself up.
And she said his inventions work, usually.
Usually.
Yay! You look perfect! Mom, we can't give this one away. Look at those eyes.
But giving is what Christmas is all about.
I know, but she's such a good girl.
This little elf girl's name is Holly, and she is voiced by a young actress named Kalia Rambo, who's got a few other things on IMDb, most notably the CBS show SEAL Team as the daughter of one of the main characters. Holly's mother is Noelle, voiced by Michelle Deco, who highlights two other things on her website. There's a show called High Guardian Spice on Crunchyroll. She's a character named Time on that, Thyme Time. And she does audio description narration for the visually impaired for a handful of things. So she does like descriptive narration for Disney movies like the Little Mermaid remake and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And that's all very impressive, but she also writes for Nintendo of America.
Wow, curveball, right?
Yeah, in her own words, if you've heard a terrible pun in a trailer, I may or may not have been responsible for it.
She's my hero.
Right? One of those trailers was the re-release for The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, so I followed her immediately when I saw that.
Mm-hmm. What do we think of the design of the elves here? Because to me, the scale is a bit off because the elves are like regular people. Like they're the size of Santa Claus.
Yeah. And they're the only people we see in this entire thing. We don't see any other humans besides Santa and elves. So we don't have that sense of scale. Like the only sense of scale we should have are the elves and Santa. And right, they are smaller than Santa, but not that much.
Not by much.
No, Santa's just a tall dude.
Yeah, and every elf kind of reminded me of that one elf from Rudolph with the glasses, the tall, lanky one. Like yeah. Everybody is that size.
They are all tall and lanky, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a practical reason. So it's about the stop motion. So the smaller something is, the harder it is to animate. For with stop motion, the wires and everything.
That's true.
So you had Santa. The elves had to be smaller than Santa. The daughter had to be smaller than the elves, and then X had to be the smallest, and he has to do the most emoting with just his body and no talking.
He does.
So other than doing one-to-one scale models,
yeah, you don't want to do that.
They had to leave a little difference for yeah.
And you can see pictures of the Chiodo Brothers posing with all of these figures that they've made for their stop motion, and they're tiny. Maybe
in this world, Santa is small too. I mean, you're right. 'Cause you never see anyone else. That's so true. We never flash to some kid at home dreaming about Christmas or like it's all contained to the North Pole, Christmas Town, and outer space.
And that's it. That's all I say. Like you see a couple of city skylines later, but that's it.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad.
Your science got me, Sammy. I'm good with it now. We can move on.
Well done. Okay, so we find X and Sam 2 exploring Christmas Town and all of the stuff there for the taking, walking through some back alley lined with tables full of gifts and ornaments and cookies and candy, and X is just going yoink, yoink at every table.
You wanted one of those cookies, didn't you?
Of course I did. I like that a back alley in Christmas Town is full of cookies and ornaments.
Yes.
Christmas Town, I want to visit this place.
Oh, I want to go. It looks like a theme park.
It does. Like if this is one of these, it's like a Christmas market on space steroids, this thing. It's incredible.
And no one sees X doing this because all the elves are gathered to see Santa unveil his brand new, faster model super sleigh, which is met with applause from all the elves, but boos by a couple of reindeer because it looks like they're about to put them out of a job.
Okay, first of all, I like a reindeer with a tie.
Yes.
That is a smart look.
That's great.
And number two, this includes a mini trope of Christmas specials that I've dubbed like souping up Santa's sleigh. This shows up in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like Elf has the Kringle 3000, the Miser Brothers Christmas, the head mechanic makes the super sleigh. Yeah. You have the S1 in Arthur Christmas. Yes. It's a fairly familiar thing where there's this need to include in the stories that, well, we've got to soup it up. We got to make it go faster. We've got to make it more futuristic, more, space age.
Modern technology, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. That original 80-minute cut, that was one of the B plots, was the angry reindeers mad about being put out to pasture.
Yeah, they didn't dwell on that enough, I think. Like, they took, there's nothing besides this and, like, one other passing thing that happens later, but I was kind of hoping for more reindeer outcry.
Like DJ said, it's a story that's been done before, so if they wanted to keep that heart, and I think the subset of that story is sometimes you just go with it, other times it's, Santa's trying to get modern, but we get back to the real magic of it, and that's better, which, this is a sci-fi movie, you need a rocket sled.
Right, yeah. Like,
100%.
That seems like it should be its own story anyway. Like someone can write something about, oh no, it's the North Pole's version of the self-checkout.
Right. But it was a great ad to just have the boo from the reindeer. Like that just made it worth it.
Yeah, I'm glad they kept it in.
Okay, here we go.
So this super sleigh was built by Santa's lead mechanic and Holly's father, Obi, who's uncredited, but it's Jon Favreau.
It's Jon Favreau. He's not changing his voice at all.
No. And as far as his acting credits go, this falls in between season 1 of The Mandalorian and Spider-Man No Way Home. There's our time frame.
I can picture it now.
Yeah.
Yep. That's Happy Hogan. And
sure is, yeah.
Not Happy Hogan Saves Christmas, which is another.
It is. And Obi turns on the sleigh, it hovers off the ground, and then about 5 seconds later, an alarm goes off, and the engine backfires, sending Santa flying before crashing into a bunch of boxes. Fortunately, most of the other elves ran out of the building before it crashed, but Holly and Noelle stayed because they were probably in a state of shock. Everyone's okay, and good old Santa, he's not even a little mad. He gets up and he laughs it off.
Santa? Santa, are you okay?
Well, that wasn't part of the plan, but it was fun. Everyone okay?
Oh, yeah. This is an even keel, cool as a cucumber Santa.
Ultimate optimist.
He never gets worked up really at all throughout this whole special. And stuff goes down as we were going to move forward.
Yeah, he looks on the bright side of everything that happens in this, and I admire that a lot.
I think if there's any like other side to it, is he's almost so optimistic that it's putting extra pressure on Obi. Like,
that's
he's
exactly
saying,
what's happening.
I can't do this. I can't get up to it. It's like, oh, you'll be fine. It's perfect. It'll all work out. Instead of, and we'll see that later. He kind of gets to that point of, well.
Yeah, I mean, it starts here. He says he has full faith that Obi will have it in perfect working order in no time. Even though, like, one elf is, I didn't catch his name, but he panics, but Christmas Eve's tomorrow. How are we going to deliver all the presents? The same way you always have? You don't need to use this. You want to. That never comes up, but Obi tells his family he's got to stay and work, and Holly, the poor kid, asks, wait, you're not coming home? No, didn't you hear Santa?
You were standing right there.
You haven't left the room.
Get off your phone.
If there's any kid who should understand the whole parents having to work on Christmas Eve thing, a Christmas elf.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's true.
They're probably a little busy at this time of year, you know?
Is he usually got this time off?
He does say he'll be home later that night to tuck her in, and Holly says she understands, but she is clearly bummed. And I don't know if y'all have ever had to break your poor child's heart by pulling a work all-nighter right before Christmas.
I thankfully have not had to do that.
No, I mean, I've had to work on Christmas some days, but my kids were very little at the time, and they understand that sometimes you have to work on Christmas. Sometimes.
Oh.
But I get it. I get how they're all feeling. Obi vows to make this up to her by promising to find the best Christmas gift ever. But Noelle tells him the only gift she wants is you. And she's very understanding, but just tells him, you worry about getting the sleigh fixed and then come home to us. Meanwhile, back to the alien and his robot companion, Sam 2 has located the place where X needs to build the gyrotron, and it's right in the dang middle of Santa's toy factory.
Well, dang it.
Which is still a very active scene at the moment. The elves are all cranking out toys and teddy bears and baby dolls, and of course, Jack in the Boxes, which are a dead ringer from the ones Buddy the Elf has to test.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Christmas without a Jack in the Box.
Because you know how many kids are clamoring for Jack in the Boxes right now. Like,
Tastes don't change, man. Wooden train and a Jack in the Box. I mean, that's what kids love, right?
They're Christmas items now. And when one pops out in X's face, he recoils so dramatically he gets sent flying onto a series of conveyor belts and tubes, in the process losing his big bag of stuff that he's stolen.
Oh, yeah. This is like C-3PO in Attack of the Clones, where it's the droid factory, just a really short version of the droid factory.
I was waiting for something to malfunction, but no, everything seems fine.
Again, and we can keep going back to this, but like, the stop motion work on this part, him getting pulled through the tubes and like all the...
Oh, it's beautiful.
The more chaos is going on in a scene, the more I'm just... The poor animators.
It was all worth it.
I know it took a 300-person team to get this all together.
Wow.
And it shows. It shows. Like Santa's factory, they're a well-oiled machine. And X ends up being wrapped by a big automatic wrapping gun and placed in a pile of other wrapped presents waiting to be packed into Santa's sleigh.
You can't do an assembly line without the punchline being the person is wrapped up in a box and wrapping paper at the end.
Oh, you have to.
There's no other way out of that scene than that.
That's the way that finishes. So I'm glad they stuck the landing.
If I visited Santa and I didn't end up wrapped in a box,
that'd be a total waste of a visit.
Excuse me, I asked for the getting wrapped up in a box special.
Sir.
Yeah, when am I going to be lying on a conveyor belt? Or when?
Let's go. is somehow Sam2 has also made it into this same room, the same waiting room for the presents, laser cuts a big hole in the floor, and he and X descend into the icy caverns beneath Christmas Town, which are gorgeous in this stop motion style.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Nice.
Somehow the ice caves look warm and cozy, but Sam2 spits out a whole pile of boxes because I guess the aliens stole the gyrotron from IKEA.
Yes, of course. Assembly is required.
Yeah.
Do you have a memorable Christmas Eve? Oh my goodness, I have to put this together. Memories.
Not Christmas Eve, but I had a Christmas Day where my daughter, when she was quite young, got it wasn't a Barbie camper van. I think it might have been like Sparkle Girls or something like that, but it was a big toy camper van, and it might as well have come in a bag of like puzzle pieces. You know when you open up a box and you go, you've got to be kidding me. There's not a piece bigger than a playing card already together?
Right.
That was, those are hours and hours of building. What about you guys?
Mine, I've done like the Monster High schools and everything. I can handle that, but I am not a tech guy. And whenever they got a game console, I had to be set up and ready for him to play in the morning. That was my wife's rule. And so, oh my goodness, I can't get this hooked up to the audio. Where does this go? It's 2 a.m.
Right, and you can't even check the audio or you'll wake them up.
Wake them up, exactly.
Oh, I haven't had to hook up anything on Christmas Eve. I have had to assemble a castle tent when they were very young. So that was an adventure. And it was one of those, it was like the polyester material, so like it gets loud when you're building it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it sounded like. Yeah, the robot also gives X a paper instruction manual and a hex key, or Allen wrench if you prefer.
The Allen wrench, I'm sure, gave some parents flashbacks like, oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But then Sam2 curls up into a ball and goes to sleep while X unfolds the very large, very complicated instructions to put this together. He tries to wake up Sam2, which sprouts a bunch of sharp, deadly appendages. And X is so frightened, he flops down on the floor and plays dead until Sam2 turns off again. That's when Santa, who's still narrating, tells us that is his stress mechanic, is to freeze.
Last round of self-defense. And he gets really cute.
He does, yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, he just
plays dead very adorably.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know dead aliens were so adorable. But then he gets up and reprograms Sam2 to build the gyrotron for him. There, see? That's practical application to use AI. The design's already done. Now give the job of having to put it together to the machine.
The jobs we don't want to do.
Right.
And I do. We were talking about his name before, but the design on Sam2. I love a retro robot. And this part, once all the pieces come out and everything, like, that's the toy.
All of his little tentacles.
Oh, the tentacles, the spinning blade, it's the clampers. It would be a great toy. You're right,
It would if it wasn't filled with all the sharp stuff. But I do like that it was just like, here's a pair of safety scissors.
And one of the things that was left out, original conceit for this special was it was going to be a lost special from like 1965 that we've uncovered this lost special. Let's see what. So that's why we have all these retro, perfect, in line with Rankin Bass designs.
That would have been a great way to promote this, like almost a Blair Witch kind of thing.
Yes, that's how.
But so X sneaks off and goes back up to Christmas Town to steal more stuff. Bunch of random things like wreaths and pie cooling on a windowsill and some snowman's carrot nose. We've already established the snowmen are alive and appear to be citizens of Christmas Town. This one just looks like he was taking a nap on the street or something. I guess you can't have a snowman live inside.
It wouldn't, no.
No. But X now has a big bag of random things he's stolen. And I don't know if you've caught this, but It looked an awful lot like the big bag of stuff the Grinch steals in the original cartoon. Big bag, tiny sled.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Big bag on a tiny sled.
See, another musical number lost.
See? That's on the cutting room floor. That's 80 minutes. We have that song.
Yeah. But as he pushes it past one open door, he spots an even bigger bag of stuff. It's Santa's big bag of toys sitting next to his super sleigh, ready to go. And X can't help himself. He scrambles over to it and is about to start taking toys out of it when he hears the voices of Obi and Santa returning, so he hides behind the bag. They don't see him. Obi's telling Santa he can't quite figure out how to get the light speed booster working. And Santa is just all happy thoughts. Just, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Here's where he starts, just overwhelms Obi with that. If anybody can do this, it's you. Which, yeah, it's always great to have a boss that believes in you that much, but it also seems like Santa's trying to ignore the problem.
Oh, totally. It's a slight bit of toxic positivity and Santa wanting to dismiss it and get back to watching his stories.
But, yeah, he can't stand to hear anything negative, even if it's something like, hey, I can't figure out how to make your new sleigh fly.
Santa, we're really understaffed, and
I feel like this Santa should be asking what he can do to help or what Obi needs or thinks has to be done here.
Provides no solutions.
Nope, he's not doing that.
I believe in you, Obi.
I'll leave you to it.
he's a good guy.
He is. And no sooner does he shut the door that Obi hears a noise, specifically the noise of someone stepping on a rubber ducky.
Hello?
Slowly approaches the bag, and he does find X, but X has immediately frozen to play dead, ending up leaning on the side of the bag and looking all the world like a cute little alien doll. And Obi's never seen a doll like this before, so he pokes it in the belly, and X gives him a very convincing "Mama!"
Nice. Hey.
because he heard one of the other dolls say it.
Probably his only line in the whole special.
Yeah, well, he also says, Papa! All the baby dolls in this special say Mama and Papa. No parent left behind. But Obi is so intrigued by this weird-looking doll that he decides he's going to give it to Holly. And much later that night, he comes home and into Holly's room to tuck her in, but she's already asleep, so he leaves X wrapped in a bow next to her on the bed, says he's sorry, gives her a kiss goodnight. And right as he closes the bedroom door, X is up, and he looks around and spots a little tea set that Holly has in her room and prepares to take it. But a still asleep Holly grabs X and cuddles him close, and X pauses, just stunned. And we see his metallic-looking gray skin begin to turn a sparkly blue. And you know what that means?
Love.
It means there are orcs nearby.
Oh, no. A whole twist to this special.
Yeah, I did not see that coming.
Honestly, though, like the heart of this scene gets to me. Like, I can't make fun of it. Like,
no.
if you had a kid who, cuddles that something, like he's trying to get up and get away, and like, nope, it's a headlock and you're here for the night.
No.
And that's exactly how my kids were with like, okay, we'll put this away. Oh,
Oh, every time. Oh, maybe a month ago, my 13-year-old comes home with this giant teddy bear. It is the size of her, and it's on her bed. And the first night she has it, she's under it. She's that happy. and I mean, you know what? Fine. But yeah, X glows blue for about 3 seconds before he starts to struggle to get out of the sleeping girl's grip, but it's no use. And I was ready for this to be the big heart-growing 3 sizes moment, but not quite yet.
Nah, we're not there yet.
No, but it was a very touching scene, though.
mm-hmm.
We cut to the next morning, and X finally breaks free, but Holly wakes up, and he freezes again. So now Holly goes downstairs to thank her dad, but he's already gone to work.
I do like how excited she is when she sees it. Like, another special, the joke would be, oh, what's this ugly doll? Send this to the island of misfit toys, while we're all like, give me that doll. That's what I
want that doll. Did they make like plushes or something out of these? They should have. It was 2020. They probably couldn't.
They could. Yeah, they probably couldn't. I'm not sure there's merch at all for this. I mean, it was
No.
based on an original book, if I'm correct, but I don't think they've made anything for it.
I'm going to go with it preserves the heart of it. This isn't one of those specials trying to sell you something.
That's
or
true.
anything like that.
That is true. That's the whole message.
Not too disappointed in that case, but Holly tells her mom she understands Dad's got to fix the sleigh, and her excitement for her new doll seems to outweigh her disappointment that Dad's not home, so good. But yeah, now it's Christmas Eve, and even in Christmas Town at the North Pole where Santa lives, we simply cannot escape people waiting until Christmas Eve to decorate.
What is happening? You live in Christmas Town. First of all, that figures to me you got a Christmas tree 365. I'm assuming that already. But what is this? People waiting to trim the tree on Christmas Eve. It's crazy talk.
You have to show them doing something, I guess. But maybe that gives them a sense of normalcy. Like, okay, like today's the day. Let's make it special. This is our tree day.
I guess when you live amongst Christmas decorations your entire life, yeah, I guess you need to maybe saving it until the day before is what makes it special.
Or you're just constantly putting up new ones.
Maybe,
Right.
yeah.
Like, this is the Arbor Day tree.
Yeah.
This is our Labor Day tree. Christmas Eve tree. Like, what else do you do? We live at the North Pole.
Yeah, you redecorate the tree every 2-3 days, I think.
Right. All right, it's Tuesday. This is
It's
the
called-
Tuesday tree.
Yeah, grab the Tuesday box, sweetie. Come on.
Sure. But as Santa narrates here, he says the spirit of joy felt on Christmas Eve, the deep appreciation for those we love and the time we get to spend together were new feelings to X, and it made him feel strange. We see him start to glow blue again when Holly's not looking, so he takes off a Santa hat Holly put on him and then freezes as she turns around and she just puts it back on him. Takes some Christmas caroling into a big dinner with the other elves. And here's where Santa explains X spent the entire day observing everyday acts of kindness and generosity and was very confused why no one was stealing anything.
I love how this almost becomes like an alien coming of age story. He had feelings he didn't quite understand.
Well, yeah.
Tonight on a very special Alien Xmas.
We then cut to that night while Holly's asleep, and X, who's now been dressed in a festive-looking Santa hat and coat, swipes the pillowcase from the pillow Holly's resting her head on. That was impressive. That's like the old tablecloth yank. And he starts swiping everything he can in her room, goes downstairs and tries to get out the window, but he can't figure out how to open it. And then we hear Holly ask,
Are you leaving too? You don't have to pretend. I knew you could walk. You're not very good at hiding it.
Swiper, no swiping.
oh, man. This scene feels very much like Cindy Lou Who.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Yeah, very much so.
The way it's framed, the way it's positioned, like they did this on purpose.
Yeah, her tone, kind of the language she's using, it's very Cindy Lou. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah. But she tells X he can take whatever he wants. It's just stuff. And then in another moment that feels very much like how the Grinch Stole Christmas, she asks him why he's leaving. But the twist here is she asks,
Do you have to go to work too?
Oh, broken heart.
well, she's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But Holly tells X it's okay. She understands because that's the line she's had to feed herself her whole life, basically. And she tells X to wait there, and she goes and gets the puppy she put a ribbon on a couple of days ago because she doesn't want X to be alone on Christmas.
The puppy she didn't want to give away.
No. So Holly walks back into her bedroom, and the puppy starts licking X's face, and it's the first time X has received an actual gift. So when he turns blue this time, it sticks.
Or it just sticks because he's got all the puppy slobber all over.
Yeah, that's
That's pretty sticky.
That's what seals it.
It's all the magic of the dog.
Yeah.
We missed it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what happens later, too. So X goes back up to Holly's room now, and we cut to the two of them and the puppy racing through Christmas Town as X explains what he is, where he's from, and why he was sent there. And I guess one or both of them are very good at charades.
They speak every language in the North Pole. We saw
that's true,
Miracle
yeah.
34th
Yeah.
Street. And that's,
Yeah, it's the universal Christmas decoder. They understand everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you live in every time zone, you can afford this.
So another X and Sam 2 were both originally supposed to speak, and they were going to have this like old married couple bickering back and forth.
Oh boy.
And Favreau was the one who said, let's have them not talk.
That was a good choice.
Yeah.
That was a good choice. As you were describing that, my face was contorting a little bit. And I'm like, I don't know if I would have liked that.
Oh, no.
I think them being the quiet and then it adds to the narration. I think that worked much better.
Yeah, no, the narration like works when they're doing that. That's a very good point.
Yeah. So they went and watched Buster Keaton movies. That was their pantomime education.
Yeah, that's where you would go. Oh, good choice. So X takes Holly down to the ice cave, where the evil robot where the sharp objects is. And oh, hey, the gyrotron's ready to go. And oh, he even decorated it with red and green lights. So X shuts it down, which wakes up Sam 2, which runs at X, and the two square off, and it's a pretty short showdown as X just climbs on top of the robot and reprograms it with a few button presses. It's like programming your remote. It's like 4 numbers and you're good.
I'm sure it doesn't seem that short when you're animating 8 tentacle buzzsaws.
No, this must have taken so long.
Oh, yeah. Cut to the animator right now listening to this going, that took me 7 weeks to do.
Uh-huh. But then Sam 2's eyes turn from glowing red to glowing green. Yep, here's your problem. Somebody set this thing to evil.
That I knew we were building to that being referenced on this show. I'm glad we're here.
Would have liked to see more of a chase here, more of a struggle to reprogram Sam 2, but yeah, that took a lot of time to animate, so I like what we got. But Holly takes them to where her dad should be working on the super sleigh, but Obi's not there, but his blueprints are. And X shows him to Sam 2, who starts scanning them. Where is Obi anyway? He's gone to Santa, preparing to deliver bad news that he couldn't figure out how to fix the sleigh. He says, I'm sorry, Santa. I failed you and I ruined Christmas. No, you didn't. Santa's got another sleigh.
We've been doing this for 2019 years.
What did they cut out from the 80-minute version where we're talking about that the sleigh was burned like to a crisp? But why are we relying on this brand new piece of technology? What did they do last year?
Because babies are soft. That's what he said. Hey, so babies are soft and smell nice, so there's way too many kids now, and we need a rocket sleigh. That's what he said.
Yeah, that is the reason Santa gives for wanting a light speed sleigh, is because we're making too many babies. This is an overpopulation story.
Now it's 2020. People have nothing else to do. So
oh, yeah, right. That's not the year to be having this message.
Yeah, don't preach that to us now. We're having Christmas over Zoom, for God's sake.
That's right. But no, the brand new sleigh is not a deal breaker. Santa immediately realizes, hey, I've put a lot of pressure on you this year, haven't I? And he apologizes to Obi. I really like Good Boss Santa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the moment, puts his arm around him. You and me, we're gonna...
Yeah. Especially considering that the animation of this is partially based on Rudolph, in which Santa's a huge jerk to everyone because he's hangry.
Oh, yeah. So it is nice to have a nice Santa Claus.
You can give him some character development and some flaws and still keep him Santa,
Yeah,
sure.
This is character development. So he tells Obi, let's look at this sleigh together and see if we can fix it. And Obi's still worried, asks, in case we can't fix it, do you have a plan B? And Santa's like, nope. What do you mean, nope? You've been doing this for hundreds of years.
Well, and we should have had that quick cutaway to some of the reindeers at that point.
Like, really?
Just crestfallen. They walked off into the night.
Yeah, massive eye rolls and yeah.
What did you do? Wait until the latest possible departure time knowing the sleigh was currently down? That's just irresponsible, man. Well, guess what, y'all? None of that matters because the robot's already done fixing it. X turns it on, the sleigh lifts off the ground just as Santa and Obi walk in, and Santa's first reaction is not, who's the weird-looking guy in my ship? It's, Obi, you were pranking me.
Where are the cameras? Where are the cameras?
You sly dog.
Don't post it to socials, please.
So Holly gives her dad a hug and she explains in her excited, fast-talking voice,
How did you...
It was X, the doll you gave me.
Right.
He's not a doll, he's an alien.
Okay.
And he was here to steal.
Uh-huh.
But then I gave him a puppy and he changed colors.
Yeah.
And he has a robot and the robot was doing bad things too.
Right.
But then X reprogrammed him and then we came here and his robot fixed the sleigh.
Oh, that old chestnut. Right, okay.
And Obi, a very good dad, seems to follow all of that without batting an eye. Just, oh yeah, cool.
They live with walking snowmen. I mean, it's probably
Yeah,
your
no,
frame of reference.
of course. Why wouldn't he believe everything?
It would take quite a bit to shock these people, I think.
His only question to Holly is, why did they fix the sleigh? And Holly answers, so we can all be together on Christmas. That was X's present to me. That made X the first klept in history to ever give a gift. And it imbues him with the spirit of Christmas, and he starts to glow even brighter as his skin starts to sparkle like glitter. And then X, Sam 2, Holly, Obi, Santa, and the puppy all jump in the air, and we got a freeze-frame the end title card.
Oh, yeah, they do the full-on Anchorman jump
They
here.
do, yeah.
All right, great episode, guys.
Yeah.
Watch out for the icy patch.
A perfect happy ending for our Christmas tale.
But wait!
Oh, no!
Here come the rest of the Kleps invading Christmas Town and shooting at everything. That was a great fake out.
Yeah, the post, the freeze frame, this special goes cuckoo bananas, and it's great. It's my favorite part. Like, once we kind of exit that little fake out, things go nuts.
A little weird. A crazy story.
This story's a little crazy. Yeah, so Supreme Leader Z appears in a big old Star Wars projection.
Activate the gyrotron, destroy Earth's gravity, and take everything!
And now we got a full-blown alien invasion of the North Pole.
Who'da thunk it?
This is amazing.
This is amazing. Yeah. The battle for Christmas Town. I mean, there's freeze rays, disintegrators, the wrapping paper guns are back, ribbon guns, the wreath rifles.
Yes.
This is insane what is happening. I think my favorite part is the elf that gets frozen when he's like trying to run away from them, and he's like, he gets like, this part is so fun.
Santa's on a walkie-talkie telling someone, secure the North Wall.
The elves coming out like in full Ghostbusters with those ribbon guns and the backpacks. It's like, this sequence should be studied and analyzed in colleges for years to come.
I just realized Santa says secure the North Wall. There is no North Wall. It's the North Pole.
As north.
Every wall is the South Wall.
As north as we're getting.
Well, it's North Magnetic Pole, but still.
And it's one of my very small pet peeves of the Christmas specials is the Santa getting kidnapped, Santa having to be saved. Like, this guy has powers equivalent of Superman. I am so done with kids having to run off and save Santa. Pull out nunchucks. And
Yes.
He takes out a candy cane, and it's a pair of nunchucks. He like breaks it apart. Oh, it's perfect.
Nobody messes with my holiday.
My only thing is we don't really get to see him use them.
No, he uses it off. I mean, he does the little Michelangelo, look what I can do.
Yeah, he does the pose, but I just was like, come on, show me him using him at least. But still, it's a great moment. It's so.
It's a kid's special. It's just like how He-Man never actually punched anything. He would just like punch at the...
No, he just lifts everything. He just throws everybody. Which if I was He-Man, I'd be throwing everybody too. So I understand.
You don't want the kids hitting the family dog with a plastic candy cane.
Nope.
You know, this happens. So.
Meanwhile, he wants X to get the super sleigh to safety, and X also sends Sam to go protect the Gyrotron, but too late. The Kleps have found it and turned it on, and everyone starts to flow upward in zero gravity. Holly and her parents are back at the kennel protecting the puppies when one Klep bursts in, but Holly thinks fast and shoves a cone of shame onto his head.
I love that. I don't know how you stop motion animate zero gravity.
And it's not just zero gravity. There's a full sequence of them once again repelling the alien invasion while they're floating.
Yeah. And in this puppy shop, they're doing it too. Everything's floating. It's really well done.
It's very well done.
And while Noelle wraps up this Klep with the ribbon gun and they lock it in one of the little travel cages. Meanwhile, Sam 2 arrives at the Gyrotron and the Kleps who turned it on shoot at him, and that just makes the robot angry. You wouldn't like Sam 2 when it's angry.
No.
But instead of the sharp object tentacles he had before with the scissors and the mace, etc., he just has regular old tentacles, and he grabs the Kleps with and smacks him in the face a bunch.
Not always the face.
No, one's upside down and gets spanked. Yeah.
There's a full-on spanking.
But another one breaks free and aims his laser at Sam 2, who dodges, and the laser hits the Gyrotron, causing it to short circuit and go even faster. So Sam 2, who's been reprogrammed by X to be a good robot, shuts it down by shoving an arm into the gears and getting himself electrocuted in the process, and that works. Thank you for your service, Sam 2. You will be remembered.
So do you think the gravity was off on the whole planet? Like,
oh, yeah.
You know, down in New York at Tucson, people are floating off. But let's make sure the toys are okay.
Right.
Yeah.
4 million dead worldwide, but the toys are fine.
Well, the Gyrotron may have failed, but Z's troops still managed to shoot down X in the super sleigh, sending him falling back down to Earth. But one of Santa's reindeer flies in and catches him before the sleigh crashes in a spectacular explosion.
Little redemption for the reindeer here.
Oh, yeah. Not sad at all about seeing the sleigh explode either.
At that New York accent. Don't mention it.
Oh, yeah.
What we do.
Forget about it. It's what we do.
Forget about it. It's what we do.
Yeah. Perfect little touch on the reindeers.
The reindeer's Teamster accent. Drops X and the puppy to safety, but not for long because a bunch of Kleps immediately surround him, and it looks like they've won at this point. The next thing we see is Santa waving a white flag, which is also attached to a candy cane.
Of course.
I don't think it's the same as the nunchucks. Don't know what happened to those.
There's no just sticks in the North Pole. It's all just candy canes.
Well, yeah.
There's no tree.
Nothing grows up there. Well, trees grow up there. I don't know. But now Z arrives on the surface and calls for X, who approaches very sadly, very humbly.
You deviated from my plan. Kleps, I would like you to meet your new Vice Supreme Leader. Huh?
That's right, the Kleps are so evil that X's treachery earned him a promotion.
Respect.
Because Z thinks earning everyone's trust was part of his plan. But as Santa, the one telling the story, explains, that was once what X would have dreamed of. But when he turns and looks at a very distraught Holly, he knew what he had to do. And he picks up his puppy and gives it to Z, who immediately gets licked in the face by the puppy, and Z starts to turn pink.
What's happening to me? I feel so warm. It's wonderful.
Which is adorable. And I get the narrative purpose, but can you just imagine an evil alien invader conquers you and the first thing you do is hand him your family puppy?
Taking a bit of a risk.
It's a gamble here.
Well, as we've learned, puppy licks seal in your color.
Oh, yeah, so very powerful. The power of a puppy lick.
She's been transformed by the power of love.
That's the power of love.
So Holly follows X's lead and gives a toy to another klept, and the other elves do the same, and all the klepts turn different bright colors, each transformed by the spirit of Christmas as the sun begins to rise, and oh no, the sun! That means it's Christmas morning. I forgot. Did y'all just forget?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm figuring that this special is over, and now I'm like, oh, wait. Now we have to sub in for Santa. We've got to save Christmas. We're like, I had forgotten all sense of what time it was at this point.
Yeah, well, and so did Santa. And his sleigh crashed, and he's devastated now.
The optimism is broken. It's Christmas morning.
No, it completely caught me off guard. Well done. But X has an idea, and he climbs into one of the Kleps spaceships and blasts off, and the rest of the Kleps follow his lead as the whole fleet travels around the world delivering the presents for Santa. I guess they just immediately know where they're all going.
Programmed into the sleigh.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they got the blueprints. All they got to do, yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'll allow it. Instead of just, remember in 2020 when you got something completely unexpected?
It would be fun to have a Nightmare Before Christmas, aliens getting Christmas wrong kind of thing.
Oh, wait till next year.
Here's your laser sword, Jimmy. No.
Dad? We see a bunch of ships now with bright and colorful vapor trails flying over New York, London, Paris, and Shanghai.
Mm-hmm.
Faster than the speed of light, Santa tells us, adding just like my vision. Well, sort of.
Yeah.
And then all the colorful ships fly into space surrounding their mothership, which we now see at a perfect angle pointing upward, now looks like a Christmas tree. That was a cool reveal at the end. The ships park themselves around the tree like colored lights.
What a nice visual. That was so, I mean, you could sense it forming and you're like, I see what they're doing here. And it really works well. It's sweet.
It was a really great reveal.
Really, how much that addition of color, like it goes from the Shatari ship to Christmas tree with all you need is.
And it kind of starts to glow green too.
And like, I love the multicolored aliens. They look exactly like something I got from a penny arcade for 5 tickets. You got the pink and yellow, orange, little bendy guys.
The bendies that could like go on the end of a pencil or something. Yeah.
I love them.
We then fade back to Santa telling the story to the little elves as he ends with,
It was all thanks to a little girl and an even littler alien. And a whole lot of love. And that is the story of the very first alien Christmas.
And now we see some tiny, colorful aliens are seated among these elves in their own little elf outfits. They stayed and got jobs and made babies.
Little X Jr., which I don't care how jaded you are about Christmas, when you see the baby alien with the doll of Noel.
Yeah.
My heart My tear ducts?
Yeah, so Santa looks over to the other side of the room where a crowd of the grown-up elves and aliens have also been listening this whole time, including an older Obi, Noel, Holly, and X, who's still in his Santa suit, and he's got a little pink baby alien on his lap. And that's it.
Right. Woo!
I loved this, Dejo. Thank you for telling me about it.
Well, I'm really glad you liked it. I mean, it's hard not to like. I mean, it's cute. It's sweet. It has a nice message. It's clear the makers have a huge reverence for the Christmas specials of our youth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's definitely worth a watch.
And it's so surprising you don't like. I was telling coworkers, what I was talking about tonight, and people haven't heard of it. It's like it got lost in that 2020 shuffle, It's
Yeah, I mean, it was news to me.
Well, what's interesting is I'm curious of the lasting powers of these new specials that are made specifically for streaming services like Netflix or Amazon. I think what made the Rankin and Bass and the Charlie Brown and the He-Man and She-Ra and all those special, beyond their quality or lack thereof, was the tradition of them, right? Like the appointment viewing of them. Like I remember my sisters and I checking the TV guide and going, oh my God, it's Charlie Brown's on at 6:30 on Sunday. Can we eat dinner in front of the TV?
Mm-hmm.
It's this new era, shows are just kind of dumped into the Netflix chasm. I mean, I know they can highlight them around December, but unless you're really seeking it out, they're just kind of, I fear, lost.
That's going to be very easy for a lot of these to get caught in that chasm.
Well, someone should make a podcast where we can tell people that they should go out.
That's a great idea. I know somebody. I'll email somebody.
We'll get on this.
I'll see who I can find.
But I want to say like how excited. There's so many Christmas specials, the classics that like I say I watch every year like we all do, but there's only so many hours in the Christmas season. They don't always work there, but it is not Christmas in my house until Santa Claus conquers those Martians.
I understand.
And so when this came out, I feel justified in it's just there's such a pure, playful spirit in these kind of wackadoo aliens celebrating Christmas. I've always loved it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that this one is such high quality that it's not just a joke, a farce. Like people are going to watch this, and I hope it'll just stand on its own merit,
I think it should. You can tell that the team behind this did it with a lot of love, right? Like that they're big fans of those specials, the specials that you've covered on this show, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell that a lot of like craft was put into this. There's obviously homage and inspiration, which we've pointed out. But for people that haven't watched this is a good one. I mean, it's maybe not widely known, but it should be. I hope people check it out. It's quite good.
Please check it out. Again, it's a Netflix special, so that's where you can find it. What's nice about that is that it's not bound to a typical TV special runtime. I've complained a lot on this podcast that a special could have benefited from being shorter or longer. This one was 40 minutes, and I feel like if they're not going to add songs, and they don't need to add songs, I feel like this was the perfect amount of time to set up this universe, tell this story, and be memorable. So I hope it has that going for it.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you both for returning to color to my holiday TV watching life.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to come back to the Advent Calendar House. I love what you do here, Mike. I love being a guest on it. And Sammy, it was a pleasure to finally join you on a show.
I was very excited to share the house with you tonight. So
thanks, y'all. Well, if people want to give you the gift of an alien for Christmas, where can they find you on the internet, Sammy?
Yeah, well, find me at Sammy Hain on Twitter. If you want to check out my particular brand of Easter coverage, that's hashtag Easter Sammy, or on Facebook, Sammy's Easter Tales, TAILS, for my particular take on the B Team holidays.
And Djo.
You can find me at They Call Me Djo I'm still on Twitter, yes, and Blue Sky. I think I might podcast occasionally still. At this point, I'm just a Christmas guest, I think, on shows. So you might hear me popping up on the airwaves, at another time around this season.
Well, all right. Please check out all of those things. You can find those links in the show notes of this episode, and you can find me at adventcalendar.house. Tune in next time when we sink our teeth into something on the slightly spooky side, complete with even more aliens. Until then, for Michael DiGiovanni and Sammy Hain, from my intergalactic mothership that was shaped like a giant Christmas tree this entire time, this is Mike Westfall reminding you to watch out for the icy patch and hoping the spirit of giving makes your skin glow a color you don't remember seeing before. Good night, y'all. Next time on the Advent Calendar House.
If you're looking for some fun, you can always count upon the wild and wacky one they call
Duckula.
Hey, Count Duckula.